Hello everyone, my name is Clarissa Gossett and here's a little video I'm going to create on making artwork that you can manually cut out the applique pieces. Use to manually cut out the applique pieces. Not everyone has a digital cutter, so instead we need to cut them out with our scissors. So here's a way to create those files. Alright, so we're going to first start with some artwork. Let's see. And let's find some artwork here. Let's just take this bumblebee for instance. And let's select it. Right click and define the scale. And let's see. There we go. And we're just going to measure across here and determine the scale or the size we want this to be. Now when you're digitizing, you want your artwork to be, pretty similar in size to what you'll be stitching. And that scale, I don't know, 8 inches is good, so we'll leave it at the size it is. Alright, and let's kind of maybe rotate it a bit, I'm just saying. Okay, and let's say I want to create an applique out of the body here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my digitizing icon, the applique stitch. We're going to click around the body here, and for curves, I hold the control down on my keyboard, but remember, keep in mind that it's going to curve the previous area you clicked. So let go of the control here because I don't want to curve here. Click here and then we'll hold control again. Get around that curve. And I'm not going to get too fussy here. And just complete that. And I like to click the close shape icon. That closes the shape nicely for me. And let's see that in 3D. So there's our applique for our bumblebee. Alright, so we've got magically, amazingly, all on its own. It created a placement line, a tack down line, a finish line. Okay, and we can now add underlay as a new feature. I think sometime in February 2021. That update, we got some new features for applique. So the placement line, tack down line, finish line. The finish line, of course, is the satin stitch. And let's say I want that a little bit bigger because this is somewhat of a big bumblebee. And let's change the width on that. There we go. Alright, so here we are. It didn't close up that area very well, so let me zoom in on that. So let's select it. And use our shape tool. Yeah, see, that didn't close up real well. Oh, move that, and maybe right click. Not happy with that. Let's look here. Corner style. Let's say auto. Let's see what that looks like. Still kind of did a miter there. We could maybe play with that again. Let's try open corners and see what we get. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. So play with the corner styles and see what you get. Let's zoom back out. And let's kind of zoom in on how the corner looks here at the bottom. Yeah, so it did an overlap. Instead of going around the corner, you can play with that. That's an open corner, by the way. Let's try auto turned. And that's kind of nice. And that did okay up here. So, play with the corners. That's this icon here called corner. Alright, so there's our applique. Now we want to make that cut file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the applique. I'm going to right click and break up the applique. Now the applique is the 3 pieces. I've got my placement line, my tack down / cutting line, and my finish line. So we've got two choices here. We want a kind of straight stitch file to cut. So you can choose the placement line, and you'll notice, let's zoom back in on that. The placement line goes somewhat down the center, and the tack down line goes a little bit inside that. Okay, so just a little bit different. So you can decide which line you want to use. Now if you plan on cutting really close, you can use the placement line. Or if you're not as good of a cutter, maybe the tack down line. So let's take that tack down line, select it, and I'm going to copy it. And you can copy and paste up here and get a new page up here. But I'm going to use my hotkeys. I'm going to touch Control on my keyboard and C. And then I'm going to do Control N. It gets me a new page, and a Control V and paste. All right, so there's that tack down line. So what I'll do at this point is, a fun thing you can do. I'm just going to rotate it a bit so where we go. If you wanted to cut multiples of these, you could make a whole page of them. Okay, so we can use the repeat design function. And they're a little close here, so let's adjust the horizontal distance a little bit. And if you wanted to economize on space, we could, is it flip every other vertically or horizontally? No, let's try vertically. There we go. All right, so that gives you a little more space. So we can decrease that horizontal distance a bit, and maybe we can get more on the page. And let's decrease our vertical distance so they're kind of closer to each other. And the output size that I have right now is 7 inches by 8.5. Well, your standard sheet that you'll print on is 8.5 by 11. So let's see, if we increase it to 3 across, I'm too large for that sheet to print. Let's take that back down to 2. And 2 down, let's see if I can make 3. Nope. So this is all I can print on one sheet. Remember, the bumblebee's kind of big. Say OK. All right, so then I would go File, Save As, a PNG, JPEG, BMP file. Let's take it back to the 1. Just a fun thing you can do. So here we can go File, Save As, and slide down clear to the bottom. And I like PNG files. They just hold a little more information, let's say. Let's save it on my desktop just because. And it's Design 3. And we're just going to save it whatever size it suggests and say OK. All right, now herein is where the problem lies. Not problem, but the situation. All right, so I decided I would test to make sure this fit my bumblebee, and it did not fit. Okay, now I have no idea why that when I reload this PNG file, somehow the software makes it view smaller. Not sure why, but it does. But rest assured, if I take this PNG file and print it, it does match the size of the applique. I tried it. I had to try it to know for reals. Okay, so let me minimize this. And let's see, it was design, what one? 3 right here. So if I open this up, and it opens in my photo program, and I print it, it prints the correct size to fit that applique. Okay, so that's kind of where the confusion lies, in the fact that, we'll look at it and go, well, it's not fitting right. Well, it actually does. Not sure why it doesn't view correctly. So go ahead and print that, and it should fit your applique. Something you can do if you want to put multiple different files on paper or a printout. Let's take that Design 3, right click and copy it. If you have Word, Microsoft Word, get yourself a new document, and you can right click and paste that file here. And you could make another file for the wings and right click and paste that file here. You know, another file for the face, right click and paste it here. So on one sheet you could have all the pieces printed for the bumblebee. Okay, so that's just another thing you can do. One thing I just thought of too, you may want to save this in black. So go over here, change the color to black because, you know, it's cheaper ink. And if you want a thicker line when you're printing, select it and change. Oh, no, you know what? We're still in the stitch file, aren't we? So that's, oh, well, you know what? I can't do that here. So I guess it is what it is because we're still in a stitch file, not artwork. So once I save it out, it is what it is. Okay, so I can't really thicken that line unless I change this into artwork, but that's a whole nother lesson. Anyway, so that's how I would create the artwork to manually cut out the pieces for your applique. Hope that makes sense. If you have any other questions, you can email me. And thank you for joining. Oh, my email is Gossett. Hey, you know what? I could do this fancy thing and type it here, couldn't I? I'm using one of my TrueType fonts. Here we go. We'll just use the outline and type it. I'm C. Gossett. Oh, you know what? I don't know if the at will come out, but Buting.com. Oh, it did work. So that's how you can find me later. So C. Gossett at R&K Distributing. Oh, I forgot the R. I asked them at R&K why they have to make such a long thing. Distributing. There we go. That's better. All right, so that's how you find me later. So hope the video helped, and happy stitching.